Hello there, many thanks for joining us on the business desk this morning. It's now time to bring you a feature on the show. Today we are looking at the aviation sector. Now, one of the highlights of the week that was the report of the recent reciprocal reduction of Emirates flights to Nigeria from 21 per week to just once in retaliation to the United Arab Emirates limitation of Air Peace's flights to Dubai via Sharjah Airport to one flight per week. Now, according to some, this has sent an assuring message that the federal government will go full length to protect the interest of indigenous airlines and Nigerian air travelers. And also, according to some reports, Emirates is losing an estimated revenue of $25.2 million per month that could have accrued from operating 21 flights per week, while Air Peace would have lost about $2.7 million per month from operating 3 flights per week. These exclude the additional money that passengers would spend in Dubai on holidays and businesses, and it is also estimated that 40% of passengers on Dubai flights have Dubai as their destination, while 60% transit through Dubai Airport. Well, joining me now to discuss this and much more virtually, I have Baba Yusuf, the Chief Executive Officer of Global Investment and Trade Company, on the Breakfast Show this morning. Thank you very much for joining us, Baba Yusuf.
Thank you for having me, David.
Now, under the lines of aeropolitics and international diplomacy, what are some of the wrongs you see here that we have to right in terms of assessing all of the back and forth we've had between Emirates, the UAE, and also the Nigerian government? We are getting commendations for the government for taking its stance on retaliation and a whole lot more. What do you make of all of these back and forth?
Thank you, David. I will join the team in Nigerians in once again appreciating the Honorable Minister of Aviation for this stance to yet again assert our sovereignty as a nation and earn or regain our respect, to put it in context, in the Committee of Nations. Like you said, there's been a lot of back and forth, but I think the excitement is finally we're able to stand our own with regards to this kind of posturing by other countries that is putting us at a disadvantage. And I will use this opportunity to say, beyond aeropolitics, even in international diplomacy and economy, Nigeria has been what I call the continental and intercontinental punching bag of other countries. Just digressing a bit apart from UAE, if you look at the West Coast in Africa, countries like Ghana, Togo, Benin, and all other countries met us the same level of disrespect, and we are not allowed to rein in the benefits. But now, focusing on your question, the question is, how did we get to where we are today with regards to the current impasse with Emirates, and then moving forward? And I think it's very simple. The learning point is for us to go back to the basics. We have, for example, in this context, a PASA agreement. My understanding of agreement is an agreement is a product of a process, i.e. there are proposals and counter proposals, disagreements, and at the end of the day, you agree. That is what it's signed. So the learning point here is moving forward for us not to possibly always be in a rush to offer, but rather always operate within the ambit of all the leverages and provisions of agreements in the best interest of Nigeria, so that avoidable situations like this do not have to arise. Because like it or not, we have taken this position, which is good, but there will be backlashes, not just on the UAE economy, but on our economy, both internally and with regards to our brothers and sisters that are working and doing business in the UAE. Beyond that, also within the context of international diplomacy, we also need to, from the beginning, always look inwards. I've said it in another forum that tit for tat is not the best way to maintain your position in the international scene, especially with regards to business and economy. Of course, in this case, is the right way to go. But suffice it to say that it is time for us to look inwards, put our houses in order, do the right thing. For example, it is heartbreaking, much as some of us want to take this position to protect our territorial integrity. You hear information about fake vaccines, breaching protocols and processes which is very difficult to defend. So we need to go back to the drawing board and start doing the right things the right way, and possibly we can avoid this kind of situation.
Now, Baba Yusuf, do you expect any new twist in terms of shifting grounds on the part of the UAE and also the Nigerian government as well?
Oh, definitely there will be shifting grounds. Of course, that started happening after our honorable minister took that position on behalf of Nigerians and the federal government. We saw how UAE backtracked a bit with regards to banning incoming Nigerians from other airlines. That has been done, which demonstrates that the action taken is the right one. And I believe currently there are behind the scenes diplomatic reach outs taking place. You mentioned the numbers earlier on both sides, Nigeria and UAE, feeling the impact of this impasse. So definitely it will pass. But what is important for us is to leverage this opportunity to ensure that all the benefits that Nigeria should gain from the BASA agreement within the context of this particular issue is, addressed and captured in the agreement that will ensue, because I believe this window is an opportunity for us to review that BASA agreement with regards to how everything is done in the first instance. And I would say this, we need to bring in subject matter experts, experienced heads to come and support the minister in reviewing such agreements so that we get the best out of it at the end of the day.
And talking about reviewing our bilateral air service agreement, which is the BASA, the popular notion is that this is skewed against Nigeria just because the country is not necessarily protecting its interest well. Now we're wrapping up the year 2021 and looking towards 2022. How do we begin to also correct these wrongs and also now assert ourselves as an aviation hub, because we're losing a whole lot of passenger traffic to the likes of Ghana and others within the West African, eastern and southern regions as well?
Well, the very first important thing to do is to review our strategic positioning with regards to, in this context, aviation, infrastructural deficit, process issues, our lack of competitiveness in terms of ease of doing business, and a host of other things. I will say we are happy that the aviation reform strategic blueprint is being followed through by the minister, albeit there's a lot of hue and cry here and there about some issues. This is the opportunity for us to go back and look at 5 do's. One is the model, the strategic and operational model we decide to adopt for whatever it is, whether it is airport infrastructure, whether it is even the agreement itself with commercial agreement, the transparency and integrity of the process, and which should involve robust consultation with subject matter experts, with stakeholders, the legal framework. Now we have, issues around agreements being tilted towards, against Nigeria. How did we come to that? For a multilateral agreement to be signed off, and then for us to come after the fact and start whining about the agreement not being in the favor of Nigeria. I think this shouldn't be happening. And then, of course, our execution quotient in terms of implementing either agreements or projects, for example, the infrastructure, the airport concession, ongoing airport concession process, or any other, strategic competitive projects that we are trying to embark upon or that are ongoing with a view to regaining our pride of place. Because like you rightly said, Nigeria's loss is Ghana's gain. Building the biggest deep sea port in West Africa, the MRO project is starting up in Ghana. They have commercialized their airport. And sadly, the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, headquarters, is going to be in Ghana, not Nigeria, despite all the contributions Nigeria has been making, to West Africa, being the biggest financier of ECOWAS, being one of the key contributors of the formation of Organization African Unity, African Union. It is important for us to rein in the investment and sacrifices we are making and we have been making moving forward.
Definitely. Thank you very much for your time on the Breakfast Show this morning, Baba Yusuf. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and we hope we see the year 2022 come up with better prospects. Thank you once again.
By the grace of God, I appreciate it. Thank you.